Welcome to Easy Stories in English, the podcast that will take your English from okay to good and from good to great. I am Ariel Goodbody, your host for this show. Today's story is for intermediate learners. The name of the story is Golden Horses. Okay, I'll just explain some words that are in today's story. A steppe, S-T-E-P-P-E, is a large area of flat grassland with no forests. You find steppes in southeastern Europe or Siberia, part of Russia. Steppes are very flat and rarely have hills, so you can see for miles around. When I think of steppes, I think of Mongolian warriors riding on horses, or the Dothraki from Game of Thrones. Mighty, M-I-G-H-T-Y, means big and strong. If a person is mighty, they probably are very tall and have lots of muscles. Or they might be a mighty king, who is not physically strong, but still has lots of power. Armour, A-R-M-O-U-R, is a set of hard clothes made of iron, steel, or leather. Armour is there to protect you in battle. In the Middle Ages, knights and warriors wore very complicated metal armour, and it took a long time to put it on and take it off. Nowadays, usually only the police and soldiers wear armour, and the armour is much lighter. A feast, F-E-A-S-T, is a very big meal that you have to celebrate something. You might have a feast at Christmas, although usually it is only kings who have feasts. It is also a verb. For example, I love to feast on chocolate and crisps, although it is not very healthy. When we say disaster strikes or disaster struck, it means that something very bad suddenly happened and changed everything. For example, maybe it's a beautiful sunny day and you go out for a picnic, but then disaster strikes. It pours down with rain and you get soaking wet. Realm, R-E-A-L-M, means a kingdom or a land. We don't use it very often anymore, and it is usually used to mean a magical or metaphorical place. For example, many TV shows such as Lost take place in a realm of mystery, where you are not certain of many things. In this story, it is the realm of death that is mentioned, where people go when they die. A magician, M-A-G-I-C-I-A-N, is a man who uses magic. Usually, magicians are young, and they are not so experienced. Someone in the modern age who does magic tricks on a stage is a stage musician. A wizard, W-I-Z-A-R-D, is a special kind of magician, a man who does magic. Some famous wizards are Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, Dumbledore from Harry Potter, and Merlin from English Legends. Wizards usually wear long purple clothes with stars on them. They have big white beards and pointy hats, and they are very old. A coffin, C-O-F-F-I-N, is the box that you go in when you die. A dead person is put into a coffin and buried underground. Often, people throw dirt on a coffin before it is buried. Before the ritual, some people leave the coffin open so that people can see their loved one last time. A herd, H-E-R-D, is a group of animals. A herd of sheep, a herd of pigs, a herd of cows, and so on. Okay, so listen and enjoy. Golden horses. Today I will tell you the tale of a time when the world lived in harmony and justice, when the gods rarely interfered in human affairs. In the faraway, endless steppe to the east of the Danube lived many warring tribes. Among these, the most powerful was the royal family of Scythia. All other nations feared and respected them, as they were undefeated in battle. It was thought that everything they touched turned to gold, and that they even gave golden tools to their farmers. Once a year, the Scythian royals gathered together. The mighty summer sun shone over their party, sending light dancing over their golden weapons and armor. Everything they owned was decorated with gold, even the fine clothes and armor of their horses. It is said that, as a reward for the courage and character of the Scythian royals, the gods gave them a golden horse, from which all Scythian horses descended. No other animal could run as fast or for as long as these creatures. Their children were born white, but instead of the blue eyes that white horses usually had, they had a dark yellow colour. Gradually, the light in their eyes turned dark and melted into a pure gold. If you look closely into the eyes of such a horse, you can see the world before its creation, said the ancient wise men of these horses. The gods gave these animals incredible beauty and speed. When a man rode on such a horse, it seemed that the creature's feet flew over the ground without touching it. It could walk effortlessly in a circle, as if drawing a planet in the night sky. When it ran, the horse bent its neck so smoothly that it seemed as if the new moon was shining from it. The royals bred a powerful herd of these golden horses, and nobody could defeat them. One year, the king of Scythia, to show the strength of his family, called for a great feast with the leaders of the neighbouring tribes. Many guests came with wonderful gifts to show their respect. After several days of feasting and drinking, everyone was invited to the hunt. On that day, many animals of various kinds were killed for sport in the surrounding steppes and forests. The eldest prince, who wanted to show off his skills, chased after a powerful bull. But disaster struck. The angry animal knocked the rider off his horse and stabbed him with its huge horns. The grief of the prince's father was without end. He promised that whoever brought his son back from the realm of the dead would receive whatever prize they desired. Priests and magicians came from all over to help the king, but none of their magic worked. Just when it seemed like it was all for nothing, an old wizard arrived from the far north. Only you can bring back your son from the realm of the dead and hear his voice again, said the magician. But how? I don't know any magic that would work, the king whispered in despair. Your servants must kill the 40 most handsome boys and just as many of your finest horses. Once their bodies are placed around the coffin, the prince will return to life. What must I pay for this? The Scythian king asked in fear. Your son himself will tell you, said the old magician, lowering his head before the mighty ruler. So by order of the king, the 40 most handsome boys of the tribe and the 40 finest horses of the royal herd were killed. At sunset, the horses and boys, shining in their gold armour, were placed in a circle around the prince's coffin. The king stood and waited in silence. At first, not a soul moved. But then, in the last flashes of the evening sun, his son's eyes began to open. The king ran forward, lifted him by his shoulders, and pulled him into a hug. "Oh, my son," he cried. "I am so happy you are back. But how must I pay for your life?" The prince's cold hands reached out and grabbed his father with incredible force. From the lips of his dead son, Death himself spoke to the king. "I have been around since before you were born, but you have not mentioned me once. Your guests of honor killed animals on the hunt, and you did not appreciate my work. Throughout your celebrations, you feasted and drank, wishing each other rich and happy lives, but not once did you respect me. Thus, as was my right, I took your darling son from you." "What do you want in return for my son?" shouted the king. "Your life!" screamed the prince, and those were the last words the king ever heard. In the morning, the servants found the dead bodies of their masters. They buried them together on a high hill among the endless fields of the steppes. 40 guards riding 40 golden horses accompanied the king and prince in their coffins to the realm of the dead. When the gods heard that the king had given the golden horses up to death, the mighty Scythians lost their favour forever. Horror and suffering gripped the land, and the Sarmatians, once considered the slaves of the Scythians, invaded from the east and destroyed the rich and powerful nation. Along with its incredible jewels, the Sarmatians took their huge herds of horses. But the golden horses were gone. All that was left were their children, whose eyes had not yet turned to gold. No matter how hard they tried to raise and breed the animals, not a single golden horse came of them. Legend has it that the golden horses did not disappear completely. It is said that during the final battle between the Scythians and the Sarmatians, the last few golden horses ran away to an island surrounded by the rough waters of the river Dana. Since then, the horses have stayed hidden and live in peace, feasting on the green grasses for many centuries. The end.